Good morning, family. Let me tell y'all something real quick. Everybody in here has a dream. Don't act like you don't. I know you've got something in your heart you've been holding on to for years, maybe since you were a kid. A business you want to start, a skill you want to master, a life you want to build. But let's be honest, what's holding you back? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Or are you leaning on excuses? See, we live in a world that loves to justify why things didn't happen. I didn't have the resources. Nobody supported me. The timing wasn't right. Let me stop you right there. All those excuses are just barriers you are putting in front of yourself. Now, don't get me wrong, I know life is tough. Some of us grew up in environments where we had to claw our way through just to survive. I get that. But let me tell you something. If you're sitting here listening to this, that means you made it through some storms already. You've got battle scars, you've got experience, and you've got something even more valuable, the ability to try. Let me tell you a story. When I was younger, I had this vision in my head of the life I wanted. I wanted to be successful, but I had no roadmap, no blueprint. All I had was a desire so strong it burned in my chest. And here's the thing, when you've got that kind of fire, you don't wait for all the pieces to fall into place. You start moving, even if you don't know where you're going yet. I had people tell me, you can't do that. You don't have the talent, the education, the connections. I heard all of it, but you know what? I didn't let their opinions become my reality. I took risks. I failed. Oh, I failed hard. But every time I fell, I learned. Every time I stumbled, I got up. Because trying, just trying, is where the magic starts to happen. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. Don't wait until you feel ready because, newsflash, you'll never feel 100% ready. The conditions will never be perfect. There will always be a reason to hesitate. But when you push past the hesitation and take that first step, you show life that you're serious. And when life knows you're serious, it starts opening doors for you. Stop talking yourself out of your own potential. Stop letting excuses keep you from becoming the person you were meant to be. You say you don't have time, make time. You say you don't have the money, start small. You say you're scared, good. Fear means you're about to grow. The truth is, excuses are just a mask for fear. They're what we tell ourselves to avoid facing the unknown. But let me remind you of this. Nothing grows in comfort zones. You can't harvest success if you're not willing to get out there and plant some seed. Listen, you might fail. In fact, let me promise you this, you will fail. But failure isn't the end. It's a lesson. It's a stepping stone. And every single successful person you look up to failed before they succeeded. The difference is they didn't stop trying. So here's the challenge. Don't let your excuses win. Don't let fear win. Don't let your past, your circumstances, or what other people think of you hold you hostage. The only thing standing between you and what you want is your willingness to try. I'm telling you right now, you've got something special inside of you. Stop doubting it, start believing it, and most importantly, start acting like it. Because at the end of the day, there is no excuse for not trying. Thank you. Excuses are just barriers you create for yourself. They're not real. They're stories we tell ourselves to justify why we aren't taking action, why we haven't moved forward, and why we haven't even tried. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, or I'm not ready? Maybe you've even said these things yourself. But when you peel back the layers, those excuses don't hold up. They're nothing more than self-imposed limitations that give us permission to stay comfortable, to avoid taking risks, and to sidestep the fear of failure. The truth is, excuses are easy, they're convenient, they're comfortable, but they're also the number one reason people never reach their full potential. Let's break it down. When you say, I don't have time, what are you really saying? Is it that you genuinely don't have a single moment to dedicate to your goals? Or is it that you haven't made your goals a priority? Time is one of the most democratic resources we have. We all get the same 24 hours in a day, yet some people use those hours to build businesses, write books, learn new skills, and chase their dreams, while others spend that time scrolling through social media or binge watching TV shows. It's not about how much time you have, it's about how you use it. The no time excuse is a reflection of your priorities, not your schedule. If something truly matters to you, you'll find a way to make time for it. You'll wake up earlier, stay up later, or cut out the distractions that don't serve your goals. It's not easy, but it's simple. The question isn't whether you have time, it's whether you're willing to make time. Now, let's talk about the I don't have the money excuse. This one is tricky because financial constraints are a real challenge for many people. But here's the thing. If you let money or the lack of it be the reason you don't try, you're giving up before you even start. Money can be a limitation, but it doesn't have to be a deal breaker. There are countless stories of people who started with nothing and built something extraordinary. They didn't let their bank account dictate their dreams. They got creative, resourceful, and determined. They found ways to work within their means, whether that meant starting small, leveraging free resources, or asking for help. They didn't wait until they had a perfect financial situation because they knew that day might never come. Instead, they focused on what they could do with what they had and trusted that the money would follow as they progressed. Waiting for the perfect financial situation is just another excuse to delay taking action. Another common excuse is, I'm not ready. This one is a favorite because it sounds so reasonable. After all, who doesn't want to be fully prepared before they dive into something new? But here's the reality. You're never going to feel 100% ready. There will always be doubts, uncertainties, and gaps in your knowledge. If you wait for the perfect moment, you'll be waiting forever. Readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. It's deciding to start even when you don't have all the answers, even when you're scared, even when you feel unprepared. Because the truth is, you learn as you go. You figure things out along the way. Every step you take, every mistake you make, and every challenge you face will teach you something valuable. Waiting until you're ready is just a way of procrastinating and avoiding the discomfort of starting. Excuses often stem from fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. It's easier to say, I can't because of X, Y, or Z, than it is to admit that you're scared. But fear is a part of growth. If you're not scared, you're not pushing yourself. You're not stepping out of your comfort zone. And if you're not stepping out of your comfort zone, you're not growing. Excuses are a shield we use to protect ourselves from that fear. But all they really do is hold us back. They keep us stuck in the same place, doing the same things, and wondering why nothing ever changes. The only way to overcome fear is to face it, and the only way to face it is to stop hiding behind excuses and start taking action. Sometimes we use excuses to protect our egos. If we don't try, we can't fail, and if we can't fail, we don't have to deal with the pain of falling short. But here's the thing, failure isn't the enemy. Failure is part of the process. It's how you learn, grow, and get better. Every successful person you admire has failed, probably more times than they can count. The difference is they didn't let those failures define them. They didn't let excuses stop them from trying again. They saw failure as a stepping stone, not a roadblock. If you let the fear of failure stop you, you're not just avoiding failure, you're also avoiding success. Excuses can also come from comparison. You look at someone else who's already where you want to be and you think, They had it easier. They had more opportunities, more support, more luck. But comparison is a trap. You don't know their full story. You don't see the struggles, sacrifices, and setbacks they went through to get to where they are. And even if they did have some advantages, that doesn't mean you can't achieve your own version of success. Everyone's journey is different. The only thing you need to focus on is your journey, your path, and what you can do to move forward. Another form of excuse is blaming external circumstances. I can't because of my job. I can't because of my family. I can't because of where I live. While these circumstances can be challenging, they're not insurmountable. People have achieved incredible things in the face of far greater obstacles. The key is to stop seeing your circumstances as reasons why you can't and start seeing them as challenges to overcome. When you shift your mindset from I can't because of this to how can I work around this, you open up a world of possibilities. You take back control and start focusing on solutions instead of problems. Let's not forget about perfectionism, which is just another form of excuse. When you tell yourself, I can't start until it's perfect, what you're really saying is, I'm afraid of doing something imperfectly. But perfection is an illusion. Nothing will ever be perfect, and chasing perfection is just another way of avoiding action. It's better to start messy than to never start at all. You can always improve as you go, but you can't improve something that doesn't exist. Stop letting the pursuit of perfection hold you back. Start where you are with what you have and let the rest unfold. Excuses are powerful because they feel real, they feel valid, but at the end of the day, they're just thoughts in your head. They're not facts. They're not unchangeable truths. They're choices. And the good news is you have the power to choose differently. You have the power to stop making excuses and start taking action. It won't be easy, it won't be comfortable, but it will be worth it. The moment you stop letting excuses control you is the moment you take control of your life. Fear means you're about to grow. Embrace it. Fear is one of the most natural and universal emotions. It's built into us as humans, a survival mechanism designed to keep us safe from harm. But in today's world, fear often shows up not as a signal to avoid physical danger, but as a signal that we are stepping into something unfamiliar, something new, something that challenges us. And while fear might feel uncomfortable, sometimes even paralyzing, it's one of the best indicators that you're on the verge of growth. Fear is not a sign that you should stop. It's a sign that you're entering territory where transformation is possible. Think about the moments in your life when you felt fear. Maybe it was starting a new job, giving a presentation, moving to a new city, or pursuing a dream that seemed too big to achieve. What did those moments have in common? They all required you to step outside your comfort zone. They forced you to face the unknown, to take a risk, to put yourself out there. And while fear may have whispered, don't do it, it's too risky, you likely found that on the other side of that fear was growth, learning, and even success. Fear is often the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also a signal that you're stretching beyond what you've known. The problem is that too many people see fear as a stop sign instead of a green light. They feel fear and immediately retreat. They think, if I'm this scared, it must mean I'm not ready or this isn't for me. But that's not what fear means at all. Fear doesn't mean stop. Fear means pay attention. It means you're stepping into something important, something meaningful. The most significant changes in your life will come when you stop running from fear and start running toward it. You have to lean into the discomfort, even when every instinct is telling you to back away. Fear is often rooted in the unknown. As humans, we like certainty. We like knowing what's going to happen, how things will turn out, and whether or not we'll succeed. But growth doesn't happen in the realm of certainty. Growth happens when you take that leap of faith even when you don't know if the net will appear. It happens when you dare to do the thing that scares you, not because you're sure of the outcome, but because you trust that the process will teach you what you need to know. The unknown is where possibilities live. It's where you discover what you're truly capable of. But you'll never know what's on the other side of fear unless you're willing to face it. One of the most deceptive things about fear is how real it feels. When you're afraid, your mind will create all kinds of scenarios to justify that fear. It will tell you, what if you fail? What if you embarrass yourself? What if you're not good enough? These thoughts can be overwhelming, but here's the thing. Fear is a liar. Most of the things you're afraid of will never actually happen. Your mind magnifies the risk and minimizes your ability to handle it. The truth is, you are far more capable than you give yourself credit for. You've faced challenges before, and you've come out stronger on the other side. Fear wants you to forget that. It wants you to focus on the worst case scenario, but you have to remind yourself of the best case scenario. The growth, the opportunities, the possibilities that come with facing your fears. It's important to understand that fear and excitement often feel the same. Think about it. When you're afraid, your heart races, your palms sweat, and your mind starts to race. When you're excited, the same thing happens. The physical sensations are almost identical. The difference is in how you interpret them. If you can reframe fear as excitement, you'll start to see it as an ally instead of an enemy. You'll start to welcome it as a sign that you're doing something that matters. Fear doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It means you're on the right one. It means you're alive. You're growing, and you're challenging yourself to be better than you were yesterday. Fear also has a way of showing up when you're about to do something meaningful. It's almost like a test. It's as if the universe is asking, how bad do you want this? Are you willing to push past your doubts, your insecurities, and your comfort zone to go after what you truly desire? If you let fear win, you'll stay where you are. But if you push through it, you'll find that fear is never as big as it seems. It's like a shadow, intimidating at first, but harmless when you shine a light on it. The only way to conquer fear is to face it head on. You can't outthink it, outrun it, or avoid it. You have to go through it. Another thing to remember is that fear is temporary, but regret lasts forever. The discomfort of facing your fear will pass. It might take minutes, hours, or days, but it will fade. What doesn't fade is the regret of not trying. Years from now, you don't want to look back and wonder, what if? You don't want to realize that fear stopped you from pursuing your dreams, building the life you wanted, or becoming the person you were meant to be. Regret is a heavy burden to carry, and it's far worse than the temporary discomfort of facing your fear. Some people think they need to wait until they're fearless to take action. They believe they need to get rid of their fear before they can move forward. But that's not how it works. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action despite it. It's saying, yes, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. The people you admire, the ones who have achieved great things, weren't fearless. They were scared, just like you. But they didn't let that fear stop them. They used it as fuel to propel them forward. They understood that fear is a natural part of the journey, not a reason to quit. Fear is also a great teacher. It has a way of showing you where you need to grow. If you're afraid of public speaking, it's probably because you need to develop confidence in your communication skills. If you're afraid of failure, it's likely because you need to work on your resilience. Fear highlights the areas where you have room to improve, and it gives you an opportunity to rise to the challenge. Instead of avoiding the things that scare you, see them as opportunities to become stronger, smarter, and more capable. Facing your fears isn't just about achieving your goals. It's about becoming the person you were meant to be. Every time you confront a fear, you expand your comfort zone. You prove to yourself that you're stronger than you thought, braver than you believed, and more capable than you imagined. And the more you do this, the less power fear has over you. It doesn't disappear entirely, but it loses its grip. It becomes something you can manage, something you can work through, something that no longer controls you. Fear will always be a part of life. It's not something you can eliminate, and you wouldn't want to. Fear keeps you humble. It reminds you that you're stepping into something bigger than yourself. It's a sign that you're alive, that you're growing, and that you're moving in the right direction. You don't need to get rid of fear to move forward. You just need to change your relationship with it. Fear isn't your enemy. It's your guide. It's the compass that points you toward growth, transformation, and your highest potential. Nothing grows in comfort zones. Take the first step. Comfort zones are where we feel safe, secure, and in control. They're the places in life where everything feels predictable and familiar. While that sense of stability is important in some aspects of life, it can also become a trap. The comfort zone, by its very nature, keeps you in one place. It's like standing in a well-lit room with the doors and windows closed. You know every corner of that room, every detail of its design, and you've grown accustomed to it. But the truth is, nothing new ever happens there. Growth, opportunity, and progress all exist outside of those walls. And the only way to reach them is to step out of your comfort zone. The challenge is that stepping out of your comfort zone feels uncomfortable. It feels risky. It means doing things you're not used to, things you might not feel ready for, and things that might lead to failure or rejection. That discomfort is what stops so many people from taking the first step. They think, why should I leave a place where I feel safe and secure? Why should I risk failure when I can stay here and avoid it? But what they don't realize is that staying in the comfort zone is its own kind of risk. Over time, it leads to stagnation. It keeps you from growing, learning, and becoming the person you're capable of being. Comfort zones are not places of growth. They're places of maintenance. If you want more out of life, you have to be willing to venture into the unknown. The first step is always the hardest because it requires you to confront your fears and doubts. It requires you to challenge the stories you've been telling yourself about what you can and can't do. Maybe you've convinced yourself that you're not smart enough, talented enough, or brave enough to take that step. Maybe you've told yourself that now isn't the right time, or that you'll do it later when things feel easier or more certain. But the reality is there will never be a perfect time. The conditions will never feel completely right. The only time to start is now, and the only way to overcome those doubts is to take action. Action is the antidote to fear. It's the way you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. When you take that first step, something amazing happens. You realize that the discomfort you feared isn't as bad as you imagined. You realize that you're stronger and more resilient than you gave yourself credit for. And most importantly, you realize that growth begins the moment you step out of your comfort zone. That first step might be small. It might be as simple as making a phone call, signing up for a class, or sharing an idea. But it sets the stage for everything that follows. It's the spark that ignites the fire of change. Without that first step, nothing else is possible. People often underestimate the power of small steps. They think they need to make a giant leap to achieve their goals, but that's not true. Growth doesn't happen all at once. It happens incrementally. It's like planting a seed. You don't see the results immediately, but with time, patience, and effort, that seed grows into something incredible. Each step you take outside your comfort zone is like watering that seed. It might not seem like much in the moment, but over time, those small actions add up to significant progress. The key is to keep moving forward, even when the progress feels slow or the results aren't immediately visible. Trust the process, and trust that each step is bringing you closer to your goals. Stepping out of your comfort zone also forces you to confront failure, and that's a good thing. Failure is not the enemy, it's a teacher. It's through failure that you learn what works and what doesn't, where your strengths lie and where you need to improve. If you never step out of your comfort zone, you'll never give yourself the chance to fail. And without failure, there's no growth. The fear of failure keeps so many people stuck, but the truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of it. Every successful person you admire has failed, probably more times than you can imagine. The difference is that they didn't let failure stop them. They used it as a stepping stone to get to where they wanted to go. If you can reframe failure as a necessary part of the journey, you'll stop fearing it and start embracing it. Another thing that happens when you step out of your comfort zone is that you discover new possibilities. When you stay in your comfort zone, your world becomes small. You see the same people, do the same things, and think the same thoughts. But when you step out, you open yourself up to new experiences, new opportunities. You meet people who challenge your thinking. You encounter situations that force you to adapt, and you learn things about yourself that you never knew before. The world outside your comfort zone is vast and full of potential, but you'll never know what's out there if you don't take that first step. One of the most powerful benefits of stepping out of your comfort zone is the confidence it builds. Confidence doesn't come from staying in safe, familiar territory. It comes from proving to yourself that you can handle challenges, adapt to new situations, and overcome obstacles. Every time you step out of your comfort zone and succeed, no matter how small the success, you build a little more confidence in yourself. That confidence compounds over time, giving you the courage to take even bigger steps in the future. It's a cycle. The more you step out, the more confident you become, and the more confident you become, the more willing you are to step out again. Stepping out of your comfort zone also inspires others. When people see you taking risks, facing challenges, and striving for growth, it encourages them to do the same. Your actions show them what's possible and remind them that they too can step out of their comfort zones. You become a role model, not by being perfect, but by being willing to try, to fail, and to keep going. The impact of your actions extends beyond yourself. It creates a ripple effect that can inspire change in the people around you. Stepping out of your comfort zone also forces you to confront failure, and that's a good thing. Failure is not the enemy, it's a teacher. It's through failure that you learn what works and what doesn't, where your strengths lie, and where you need to improve. If you never step out of your comfort zone, you'll never give yourself the chance to fail. And without failure, there's no growth. The fear of failure keeps so many people stuck, but the truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of it. Every successful person you admire has failed, probably more times than you can imagine. The difference is that they didn't let failure stop them. They used it as a stepping stone to get to where they wanted to go. If you can reframe failure as a necessary part of the journey, you'll stop fearing it and start embracing it. Another thing that happens when you step out of your comfort zone is that you discover new possibilities. When you stay in your comfort zone, your world becomes small. You see the same people, do the same things, and think the same thoughts. But when you step out, you open yourself up to new experiences, new opportunities, and new perspectives. You meet people who challenge your thinking. You encounter situations that force you to adapt. And you learn things about yourself that you never knew before. The world outside your comfort zone is vast and full of potential, but you'll never know what's out there if you don't take that first step. One of the most powerful benefits of stepping out of your comfort zone is the confidence it builds. Confidence doesn't come from staying in safe, familiar territory. It comes from proving to yourself that you can handle challenges, adapt to new situations, and overcome obstacles. Every time you step out of your comfort zone and succeed, no matter how small the success, you build a little more confidence in yourself. That confidence compounds over time, giving you the courage to take even bigger steps in the future. It's a cycle. The more you step out, the more confident you become. And the more confident you become, the more willing you are to step out again. Stepping out of your comfort zone also inspires others. When people see you taking risks, facing challenges, and striving for growth, it encourages them to do the same. Your actions show them what's possible and remind them that they too can step out of their comfort zones. You become a role model, not by being perfect, but by being willing to try, to fail, and to keep going. The impact of your actions extends beyond yourself. It creates a ripple effect that can inspire change in the people around you. Of course, stepping out of your comfort zone isn't easy. It requires courage, determination, and a willingness to face uncertainty. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, moments when you want to retreat back to what's familiar. But those moments are part of the process. They're signs that you're growing, that you're pushing yourself, and that you're moving in the right direction. Growth is never comfortable, but it's always worth it. The more you step out of your comfort zone, the more you'll realize that the discomfort is temporary, but the growth is permanent. It's important to remember that stepping out of your comfort zone doesn't mean you have to take reckless risk. It's not about diving into the deep end without preparation. It's about taking calculated steps that challenge you while still being manageable. It's about finding that balance between pushing yourself and setting yourself up for success. Over time, as you take more steps, your comfort zone expands. The things that once scared you become familiar, and you find yourself capable of doing things you never thought possible. The journey might be challenging, but the rewards are immeasurable. Nothing grows in comfort zones. Growth requires change, and change requires action. It's not enough to want growth. You have to actively pursue it. You have to be willing to take that first step, no matter how small or how scary it might feel. The journey outside your comfort zone is where you'll find the opportunities, the lessons, and the breakthroughs that will shape your life. It's where you'll discover your true potential and realize that you are capable of so much more than you ever imagined. Every step you take, every challenge you face, and every fear you overcome brings you closer to the person you're meant to be. The strongest foundation for success is consistency. Success is not built on grand gestures or one-time efforts. It's not the result of luck or a single breakthrough moment. Instead, success is the accumulation of consistent, deliberate actions over time. Consistency is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who only dream about them. It's the quiet, steady force that keeps you moving forward, even when progress feels slow or obstacles seem overwhelming. Consistency doesn't demand perfection, it demands persistence. It's about showing up every single day, no matter how you feel, no matter what challenges arise, and committing to the process of growth. Consistency is about discipline. It's about doing the work even when you don't feel like it. It's easy to be motivated at the beginning of a journey when everything feels new and exciting. But motivation fades. There will be days when you're tired, frustrated, or doubtful. On those days, consistency is what keeps you going. It's the discipline to stick to your plan, to put in the effort, and to keep moving forward even when it's hard. Discipline is the foundation of consistency, and consistency is the foundation of success. You don't have to be extraordinary to achieve extraordinary results. You just have to be consistent. The power of consistency lies in its compounding effect. Small, consistent actions may not seem like much in the moment, but over time they add up to significant results. Think of it like planting seeds. If you plant a seed and water it consistently, it will eventually grow into a tree. But if you only water it occasionally or neglect it altogether, it will wither and die. The same principle applies to your goals and aspirations. Consistency is the water that nourishes your efforts and helps them grow. It's not about making massive leaps. It's about taking small, intentional steps every single day. Those steps might seem insignificant on their own, but together they create momentum and lead to meaningful progress. Consistency also builds trust with yourself and with others. When you're consistent, you prove to yourself that you can follow through on your commitments. You build confidence in your ability to set goals and achieve them. That trust in yourself is invaluable because it fuels your belief that you can handle challenges and overcome obstacles. Consistency also builds trust with others. Whether it's in your relationships, your career, or your community, people value reliability. When you consistently show up, deliver on your promises, and stay true to your word, you earn the respect and trust of those around you. That trust opens doors, creates opportunities, and strengthens connections. One of the challenges of consistency is that it often requires you to embrace routine. Routines might seem mundane or even boring, but they're incredibly powerful. Routines provide structure and eliminate decision fatigue. When you have a routine, you don't have to rely on willpower or motivation to take action. You simply follow the plan. Routines make consistency easier because they turn intentional actions into habits. Over time, those habits become second nature, and the effort you put into maintaining consistency feels effortless. The key is to design routines that align with your goals and to stick with them, even when they feel repetitive or unexciting. Consistency is also about resilience. Life is unpredictable, and there will be times when things don't go as planned. You might face setbacks, failures, or unexpected challenges. Consistency doesn't mean never making mistakes or experiencing difficulties. It means getting back on track when those things happen. It's about refusing to let setbacks derail you and staying committed to your goals, even when progress feels slow or uncertain. Resilience and consistency go hand in hand because both require you to stay focused on the bigger picture. It's not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. Another important aspect of consistency is clarity. When you're clear about your goals and the steps required to achieve them, it's easier to stay consistent. Clarity provides direction and focus. Without it, it's easy to get distracted or lose sight of what's important. Consistency thrives on a clear plan and a strong sense of purpose. When you know what you're working toward and why it matters, you're more likely to stay committed even when the journey gets tough. Clarity also helps you measure your progress and celebrate your successes along the way, which reinforces your commitment to consistency. Consistency requires patience. In a world that values instant gratification, patience can feel like a lost art. But success is rarely instant. It takes time, effort, and persistence to achieve meaningful results. Consistency teaches you to value the process, not just the outcome. It reminds you that progress is often slow and that the most significant achievements are built on a foundation of steady, incremental effort. Patience allows you to stay the course even when you're not seeing immediate results. It helps you focus on the journey and trust that the work you're putting in will pay off in the long run. One of the most powerful things about consistency is that it's within your control. You can't control external circumstances, other people's actions, or the outcome of your efforts, but you can control how consistently you show up. Consistency is a choice you make every day. It's a commitment to yourself and your goals. It's about focusing on what you can do right now, in this moment, to move closer to where you want to be. When you focus on consistency, you take ownership of your journey and empower yourself to create the results you desire. Consistency also helps you build momentum. When you take consistent action, even small steps, you create a sense of progress and forward motion. Momentum makes it easier to keep going because each step builds on the one before it. It's like pushing a heavy object. At first, it takes a lot of effort to get it moving, but once it starts rolling, it requires less energy to keep it going. Consistency is what gets the ball rolling and keeps it moving forward. Momentum doesn't happen overnight, but it's a powerful force that can propel you toward your goals once you've built it. Another benefit of consistency is that it creates a sense of mastery. When you do something consistently, you get better at it over time. Practice leads to improvement, and improvement leads to confidence. Whether it's a skill, a habit, or a goal, consistency allows you to refine your approach, learn from your experiences, and develop expertise. Mastery takes time, and there's no shortcut to achieving it. But when you're consistent, you give yourself the opportunity to grow. learn, and become the best version of yourself in whatever you choose to pursue. Consistency isn't always glamorous. It's not about big flashy moments or dramatic breakthroughs. It's about the quiet, steady work that happens behind the scenes. It's about the early mornings, the late nights, and the effort that no one else sees. It's about staying committed to your goals, even when the excitement fades and the work feels hard. But while consistency might not always be exciting, it's incredibly rewarding. It's the foundation of all great achievements, and it's what turns dreams into reality. Consistency is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be, and it's the key to unlocking your full potential. The truth is, no one is ever truly ready. Waiting until you feel completely ready to take action is one of the most common ways people hold themselves back. The idea of readiness is comforting. It gives you an excuse to delay, to avoid taking risks, to stay in your comfort zone. You might tell yourself that you'll start when you have more experience, more resources, more knowledge, or more confidence. But the reality is, if you wait for the perfect moment, you'll be waiting forever. Life doesn't work that way. The stars don't align, and the universe doesn't send you a neon sign telling you it's time to start. The only way to be ready is to begin before you feel ready. The notion of readiness is rooted in fear. It's a fear of failure, a fear of rejection, a fear of the unknown. You tell yourself you're not ready because deep down, you're afraid of what might happen if you try and things don't go the way you hope. That fear is natural. It's part of being human. But fear should never be the reason you hold yourself back. The truth is, you don't need to have everything figured out before you start. You don't need to know all the answers or have every skill mastered. What you need is the courage to take the first step and trust that you'll figure it out as you go. The most successful people in the world didn't wait until they felt ready to take action. They started before they were ready, and they learned along the way. They embraced the process of trial and error, knowing that mistakes and failures are an inevitable part of growth. They didn't let the fear of not being perfect stop them from moving forward. They understood that readiness is a myth and that the only way to become ready is to take action. Starting before you feel ready is uncomfortable. It requires you to step into uncertainty, to face challenges you might not feel prepared for, and to take risks that might lead to failure. But it's also incredibly empowering. When you take action despite feeling unready, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. You discover strengths and abilities you didn't know you had. You learn to adapt, to problem solve, and to persevere. You build resilience and confidence, not because everything goes smoothly, but because you show yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. Taking action before you feel ready also forces you to grow. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone, where everything is safe and predictable. It happens when you push yourself, when you take on challenges that stretch you, and when you put yourself in situations where you have to learn and adapt. If you wait until you feel ready, you're denying yourself the opportunity to grow. You're staying in a place of safety, but you're also staying in a place of stagnation. Growth requires risk, and risk requires action. The sooner you take that action, the sooner you start growing. One of the most common excuses for waiting is the belief that you need more knowledge or skills before you can begin. But the truth is, learning is a lifelong process. You're never going to know everything there is to know or have every skill mastered. If you wait until you feel like an expert, you'll never start. The best way to learn is by doing. When you take action, you gain practical experience that you can't get from books or courses. You learn through trial and error, through successes and failures, and through the challenges you face along the way. Action is the best teacher, and the lessons you learn by doing are far more valuable than anything you can learn by waiting. Another reason people hesitate to start is the fear of judgment. You might worry about what others will think if you take a chance and fail. You might fear criticism or rejection. But the truth is, most people are too focused on their own lives to spend much time thinking about yours. And even if they do judge you, their opinions don't define you. What matters is how you feel about yourself and your choices. Taking action before you feel ready is an act of courage, and that courage is something to be proud of. It shows that you're willing to bet on yourself and your dreams, no matter what others might say. Waiting for readiness can also lead to regret. When you let opportunities pass you by because you don't feel ready, you're left wondering what might have been. Regret is a heavy burden to carry, and it often stems not from the things you tried and failed at, but from the things you didn't try at all. Taking action before you feel ready might be scary, but it's better than living with the regret of never trying. Even if things don't go as planned, you can take pride in knowing that you had the courage to take a chance. And who knows, you might surprise yourself with what you're capable of. There's a saying that goes, leap and the net will appear. It's a reminder that sometimes you have to take a leap of faith and trust that things will work out. You might not have all the answers, and you might not know exactly how things will unfold, but you have to trust yourself and your ability to figure it out. The truth is, you're more capable than you give yourself credit for. You've overcome challenges before, and you'll overcome them again. You don't need to have everything figured out to take the first step. You just need to believe in yourself and your ability to learn and grow along the way. Starting before you feel ready doesn't mean being reckless or unprepared. It means recognizing that you'll never feel completely ready and choosing to act anyway. It means accepting that there will be uncertainty, challenges, and setbacks, but deciding that the potential rewards are worth the risk. It means trusting yourself and your ability to adapt, learn, and overcome. It's not about being fearless. It's about being brave enough to act despite your fears. When you take action before you feel ready, you set a powerful example for others. You show them that it's okay to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and to take risks. You inspire them to step out of their comfort zones and pursue their own dreams. Your courage becomes a source of encouragement for those around you, and your actions create a ripple effect that can lead to positive change far beyond yourself. By starting before you feel ready, you give others permission to do the same. The truth is, readiness is a mindset. It's not about having everything in place or feeling completely confident. It's about deciding that you're willing to take the first step, no matter how unprepared you might feel. It's about shifting your focus from what you lack to what you can do right now. It's about understanding that progress is more important than perfection and that action is the key to growth. Readiness is not something you wait for. It's something you create through your actions and your willingness to embrace the journey.